Now, together we've laid a solid foundation that got us through some tough economic times and has brought us to a defining moment for our state. Now, with our economy picking up steam, how do we build on that foundation? With Washington paralyzed by politics, what can we do here in Missouri to make a lasting difference for real people? And when it's always easier to do the small things and declare victory, how do we tackle the big challenges? The things that matter most. Good schools, good jobs, and healthy communities for our kids to grow up in. Now, Missouri is a very diverse state. Just here in this room, we've got farmers and small business owners, artists and outdoorsmen. There aren't many things every single one of us would agree on. But here's one we can. Our single greatest responsibility as elected officials, as parents, as citizens of our state, is to make sure that every child in Missouri has an opportunity to achieve his or her dreams. And we all know that opportunity starts with education. It does. Now, for centuries, public education has been a value we cherish as Americans, a value we've reaffirmed time after time. In the 1700s, Thomas Jefferson called for a public education system that would safeguard our young democracy from tyranny and oppression. In the 1800s, we established the land-grant university system, including the University of Missouri and Lincoln University. By 1900, every state in the nation had free public elementary schools. And when the greatest generation returned home from World War II, after literally saving a free world, a grateful nation honored them with something far more precious and patriotic than a ticker tape parade, the GI Bill. Shepherded through Congress by Missouri Senator Champ Clark, the GI Bill gave millions of Americans an opportunity their parents never had. The chance to earn a college degree without going into debt. Take a second to think of the impact that it had. Between 1940 and 1950, the number of degrees awarded by U.S. colleges and universities more than doubled. Over the next half century, the percentage of Americans with a college degree quintupled. They became engineers and small business owners, scientists and Supreme Court justices, presidents and preschool teachers. They bought homes, started families, and launched companies, creating the modern middle class and driving a post-war economic boom unlike anything the world has ever seen. We're joined by one of them tonight. Dr. Frank Fontana of St. Louis served in the Army during World War II and followed the front lines all the way to Berlin. That's not all he did, folks. When he came home, the GI Bill provided him the opportunity to get a degree in optometry, and later he started his own practice. He married the love of his life, Doris, and they had 2 sons they put through school. The GI Bill gave Frank the opportunity to pursue his dreams, to support his family, and to become a great optometrist. I should know. He's mine, and I can see him. Please join me in thanking Frank Fontana for his service and reminding us, more importantly, of what the American dream is really about. Thank you, my friend. This nation's greatest generation made a commitment to education. And as a result, they made the United States the driver of the global economy and the undisputed leader of the free world. Now it's our turn to carry on that legacy. Now we must work to help every child start school ready to learn. We must demand that every school is getting the job done, and we must make sure that every student can afford to get a college degree. So together, let's resolve to give our children and grandchildren more opportunities, better opportunities than we had, and build the future they deserve. But to really succeed, we're going to have to start early. Parents and teachers see it every day. The first few years of a child's development have an impact that lasts a lifetime. A child who starts kindergarten ready to learn is more likely to succeed in school, go to college, and get a good job. Working together over the last year, we've expanded access to early childhood education, giving more children the opportunity to go to high-quality preschool in their communities. But this year, it's time that we do much more. Kids grow up fast, so there's no time to waste. We must work together to make sure our kids start smart. And that's why my budget will nearly triple funding for the Missouri preschool program just this year. We'll provide quality early learning opportunities for thousands more kids all across Missouri, but that's just the beginning. Now, as many of you know, Georgianne and I spend a lot of time at Missouri schools, touring classrooms, talking to students, meeting with teachers and staff. Sometimes I even sneak out and shoot a few hoops. Our schools are the hearts of our communities. They're where we gather for picnics and dances, ball games and bingo, where lifelong friendships are made and fundamental values are learned. And in today's global economy, whether you root for the DeSoto Dragons, or the Sykeston Bulldogs, or the Mound City Panthers, our K-12 schools must also be rigorous, high-tech institutions of innovation. More technology, smaller class sizes, well-prepared teachers, the tools our kids need to succeed. You know, accomplishing that goal is going to take an unwavering commitment by all of us. And you know something else? It's going to take money. That's why my budget increases funding for our K-12 classrooms this year by $278 million. And for those of you counting at home, that will put us on a path to fully funding the foundation formula next year. You know, every one of us has run for office. And when we knocked on doors and folks asked if we believed in public education, we all said yes. At every town hall meeting, when someone raised their hand and asked what we do for teachers, we said we'd support them. And on the campaign trail, I bet almost all of us made a promise to invest in our students and our schools. Well, you know what? It's time to put our budgets where our campaign brochures are. It's time to decide whether we're merely going to talk about public education or whether we're going to fund it. This is the test, and this is the year. to get serious about fully funding our schools. And we all know our local schools will put these dollars to work in a big way for our kids and communities. Here are just a few of the priorities that school districts have already outlined. In Kennett, every student will have a computer. In Fort Zumwalt, 50 additional teachers will reduce class sizes and give kids the personal attention they need. In Santa Fe, and for those of you who haven't been north here, that's Santa Fe, Missouri, they're going to bring back summer school and establish the district's first early childhood education program. Up in Kirksville, they will implement Project Lead the Way, the hands-on curriculum that helps students understand and excel in science. And in Springfield, 4,000 more 3- and 4-year-olds will have the opportunity to attend high-quality preschool. Tonight, we are honored to be joined by teachers, administrators, and school board members from across our state. I'd like you to stand, if you would, please. Please join me in thanking them for the honorable challenge they take on every day of educating our kids. Thank you. You know, and with this commitment to fully funding the formula, we're going to demand accountability and measurable results. Tougher classes, higher test scores, and higher graduation rates. Our students need to be ready to compete worldwide, and that means they have to raise their game. We're going to have to raise ours too. We have got to believe in education so much that we commit to making it better. And when we talk about education, there's something that always bears repeating. There is no more honorable profession than being a teacher. You know, none of us would be in this room today if it were not for the extraordinary people who taught us and believed in us years ago. We are blessed to have so many talented teachers across our states, selfless public servants who stay late to make sure our children don't fall behind, who often dig into their own pockets to make sure they have the materials they need to teach our kids. And yet each year there are some who believe the way to build up our schools is to tear down our teachers, trying to cut their pay, reduce their retirement benefits, or threaten their job security. That simply needs to stop. Now, we can all support making smart reforms to our education system, and of course we should hold educators accountable for the important job we entrust them to perform. But instead of attacking public school teachers, we should make it our mission to recruit the best and brightest minds to take on the honorable work of teaching our kids, okay? And that is exactly what this significant education investment will allow our local districts to do. Now, tonight we are pleased to be joined by Tobin Schultz. Ever since he was in 9th grade, Mr. Schultz knew he wanted to be a teacher. And at Joplin High School, he continues to inspire and motivate students each and every day. Last October, Mr. Schultz won the prestigious Milken Family Foundation National Educator Award. We were all inspired by how Joplin, even in its darkest hour, rallied behind its students and its schools. Just this month, 1,400 students in Joplin walked into 3 brand new schools, marking another milestone in a remarkable recovery. Mr. Schultz is joined tonight by school principal Dr. Carrie Chichetta, A-plus coordinator Susan Day, and Superintendent C.J. Huff. Please join me in Missouri in thanking Mr. Schultz and all of our teachers for the vital work they do each day. Now, at Joplin High, Mr. Schultz works hard to make sure kids are prepared to take the next step and pursue the higher education they need for the careers they want. Many of us have probably had the same conversation with our kids around the dinner table. We tell them that no matter what they're interested in, the more education they get, the more financially secure they will be. And the numbers are stark. The unemployment rate among high school graduates is more than twice that of college graduates. And by the end of this decade, 2/3 of all jobs will require some kind of college credential. Now, together, we've made great strides to make sure that a quality, affordable college education is an option for every family. In fact, over the past 5 years, Missouri's public universities have led the nation in holding down tuition increases. We are number one, okay? But we're not done yet. Working together, we're going to make sure students graduate from college with the skills to compete for good jobs, not just a load of debt. That's why I have called on our four-year institutions to once again freeze tuition for Missouri undergraduates. That's right, under my budget, Missouri undergraduates at our public universities should not have to pay a penny more for tuition next year, not a single penny. And no student should have to settle for less education just because their parents make less money. So we're doing something about that. My budget puts additional dollars behind our Access Missouri Scholarship Program so that students from low-income families can get the financial aid they need. And we'll make sure our Bright Fight live up to its original mission of keeping our best and brightest students here in Missouri during college and after they graduate. Finally, I'm proud to report that we've taken our A-plus schools program statewide, adding 266 schools since 2009, giving thousands more students the opportunity to earn an A-plus scholarship. Today, all across Missouri, students who work hard, play by the rules, and give back to their communities can attend 2 years of community college tuition-free. But affordability is only part of the equation. Once again, core funding for our colleges and universities will be awarded based on performance, on how well our institutions meet specific goals. And in a high-tech global economy, we need to make sure the degrees students pursue match the skills that businesses need. Over the next decade, the jobs that are in highest demand will require at least some background in science, technology, engineering, or math. Okay. The so-called STEM fields, absolutely. We're talking about software programmers and scientists, mathematicians and machinists, coders and chemists. The best way to attract more of these high-paying jobs is to make sure our workers have the skills to fill them. And that is exactly what our STEM initiative will do. With an initial investment of $22 million, this initiative will help our universities purchase state-of-the-art equipment, expand lab space, and more importantly, produce more graduates in these fast-growing fields. Okay? Investing in high-tech education will pack a huge punch for our economy. Now, education must start early, but it can never stop. With technology constantly advancing, we can't forget that learning needs to be a lifelong endeavor. Every Missouri willing to learn as they work hard, no matter what their age or education level, should have the opportunity to take that next step and move up the economic ladder. Now, I want to thank the legislature for working with us to strengthen our workforce training tools and to give more Missouri workers the opportunity to sharpen their skills and get better jobs. Now, from preschool to graduate school, in total, my budget includes $493 million additional dollars for education. Our growing economy, combined with our sound budget management, affords us this unique opportunity to invest in our students' future, our state's future. It's our responsibility to do it. But there are those who feel that instead of fully funding our schools, we should pull money out of our classrooms in order to experiment with our tax code. Let's get something straight. I've held the line on taxes every year I've been governor, and will do so again this year. Missouri is a low-tax state, 6th lowest in the nation, and we like it that way. I've signed 4 tax cuts as your governor, specific, targeted tax cuts that have helped our businesses expand and grow. For example, Missouri employers will save $70 million this year alone because we cut the corporate franchise tax. But here's what I won't do. I will not support anything that takes money out of our classrooms. As we saw last summer, in community after community, in all corners of our state, parents, teachers, administrators, school board members, business leaders, and concerned citizens spoke out with one united voice. The people of Missouri said they expect their elected leaders to support public schools because they know that education is the best economic development tool there is.